Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cafe Disco. How have you all been doing? For today's topic, I have prepared some notes because we're gonna dive into it. On today's list, we have optional rest. But what do you mean with optional rest? I will tell you in a minute. I've decided to talk about this topic because it's very dear to me and I think that we should find a solution together because I do not think it's just my problem. So, a little bit of context. I come from 2 weeks of very intense stuff, like both emotionally and like school wise. I've had a lot of projects. We are approaching the end of term, so like a lot of things to deal with, and also emotionally. I don't know what to tell you, but like the planets were in a strange position that really a lot of stuff happened. And actually, I'm approaching this 2 final weeks of the term. So that means I think 8 to 9 hours rehearsals per day. And don't get me wrong, I'm super happy about it. But at the end of them, we have 3 shows, and I'm gonna try to limp up the hill, hike a bush to find the strength to do this. But I'm very happy. I'm very looking forward to it. But I have to admit that I'm a bit tired mentally. So I've written down here on my notebook a series of bullet points I would like to touch on to structurize, to organize, to tackle this problem. Because I feel that as a society, we struggle with the theme of rest, the work life balance, and also with the theme of productivity. Do I ring a bell? So, first bullet point of a list, we have productivity as a metric of good day, defining the self-worth of my day and of my personality. This meaning that if I am not productive one day, I feel like instantly, and when I say I feel, because I myself feel personally as if I was not worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be productive in my time, otherwise, it's not worth it. And do you get the toxicity of this point of view? It's absurd because on a rational level I know that is wrong, but as soon as I'm not productive, meaning that I'm not doing something that is school related, self-improvement related, something that has a goal, I feel that I could have done better. I never feel like I waste my time because I'm very active, but I always work towards a goal. Okay, so like I read a tons of book regarding acting, I read books about plays, I read books about art, and first of all, it's one of my interests, but the ground base, the engine thanks to which I do these activities is like I want to know more, I want to know everything about this thing. Okay, and it's not just for the pleasure of reading. I think that, to be honest, the ratio is, I think, 70% acquire knowledge. Let's learn as much information as I can stock into my brain, and 30% as the pleasure of reading. Another example, I always go to dance classes and I love dancing. It's one of my biggest passions, but I have to do better. I have to learn something new. I have to improve. I have to learn this thing. And during my free time, I don't know, I started trying double pirouette, triple turns, and because I don't know how to do them. And so even something that is leisurely for me, which is dance, becomes performative. Get what I mean? And it's always towards something. And I was like at the end of my week being like, oh my god, everything I do is just to work towards something. Like, I love going to the theater, I love watching movies, I love going to the cinema, but like I enlist them among my pleasure activities. But still, they have the final goal to acquire even more knowledge and more information that could be useful in my brain when I have to prepare a part or to be like prepared theatrical wise or cinematic wise. Get what I mean? It's not just the pleasure of going to the movies. I love going to the movies, but it's also like, yeah, I have to learn something. There's always this kind of underlining of being a task and then being productive. I don't know if I look for even the slightest bit of productivity in every activity I do to give reason to it. Am I that problematic? I don't know. But still, yeah, I feel like that this pressure this metric of defining something as valuable, as worth it, as good, as if it's productive or not is extremely toxic. And guys, I am the first one to be sentenced, so don't worry. Second touch point I would like to talk about, and it's directly connected to the first one, is what I call the hustle guilt. Like, we live in this frenetic and hyper velocity society and routine. Like, I think that each one of us lives in that kind of stuff nowadays, which is increased exponentially by the use of social media. And especially if you live in a big city, whoa, you're always running. Like, even in your, I don't know, least busy day, you are always running somewhere. But again, this hustle guilt is this constant feeling of laziness if you're not doing something tangible. Am I ringing a bell? And that's why it's deeply connected to the first one, because something productive is something that I can put my hand on, the result generally. And if it's not the final result, the ongoing result. Like, example, me going to the movies is like, okay, today I learned this, and that. Or, yeah, I loved how this actor did this. So as I was saying, when like trying to find every time something that I could learn, something that could be improved, something that could be enlisted in the things that enrich my knowledge baggage, my knowledge luggage. And if that something is not tangible and it's not palpable, if I cannot like put my hand on it, then I feel lazy. For instance, the other day, I love painting. I've always loved painting. When I was a kid, I used to paint all the time. Now it's just a hobby that I have from time to time. But when I do paint, I commit for 3 hours just doing that. And still, my father wanted me to become a painter, actually. I loved it so much. But yeah, the other day I painted and I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut out of my day this 2 hours where I just paint, focus on that thing, and yeah, be in free flow of creativity. Because I'm an artist and I deserve this. Result, I painted. But then I felt guilty because I'm like, but this 2 hours I could have spent doing this, and that, because I need to do this, I need to study more that, I need to do that. Well, do you see how fucked up that is? And I was doing a thing that I loved, that I've been loving since I was like a kid, really. You find pictures of myself as a newborn covered in paint, and still I felt that guilt because what I was doing, what I did in those 2 hours wasn't productive. And I feel that many of you out there can feel this the same way, and it's fucking not good. Because on the second half of the episode, we're gonna dive into the effects of this thing, and it's like, it's not good, man. It's not good, dude. Not at all. Because like, I have to find and to be able to feel pure enjoyment when I'm doing an activity that I love, that gives me pleasure, without feeling guilty about it because those 2 hours were meant for something more productive. Because get what I mean? You always have something to do. Like, my agenda is super full. Like, I always can read another play, watch another movie, study more that part, review that project that I'm doing with this and that. There's always something to do. And also, not only like school work wise, there's also, oh, I have to do laundry, I have to clean my room, I have to do the groceries, I have to cook, I have to meal prep for the whole week, I have to prepare good food and healthy food, and not just like eating a carrot and a piece of feta cheese, because I always end up doing that stuff, or a cucumber. So there's always something more productive to do. But why can I not enjoy those 2 hours where I paint and I finally reconnect with myself, or like simply go on a walk? I love walking, just basically walking for 17, 20 kilometers and just like, I don't know, calling a friend, listening to music and something, and not being there, okay, I have to listen to this online course, to this super self-improvement financial podcast. Like, what the fuck, man? Can I just enjoy my walk? And what the fuck, man, is me to my brain. So then I think that as a community, we decided, I don't know when, I don't know how, and I don't know why, that rest was something that had to be earned. Like, rest as a reward system rather than a need of the body. Like now I can rest, now I can sleep, now I can literally wind down just because I deserve it. And I deserve it just because I was productive. So everything is connected. It's like a chain. Like, so productivity as a good day metric. That way I'm not lazy. I'm doing something for a purpose, and then I can rest. Woo, 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 woo. Am I ringing a bell? Really, because am I ringing all the bells in my head? Because I do this. And I felt that that was an important topic to talk about because I've been struggling with my activity and rest cycle for the last month, and my sleep hasn't been that good. But yeah, like when we collectively decided that to rest, actually to be like at 11 p.m., I'm going to sleep no matter what. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, but still I can do this, I can do that. One little bit more effort. I'm always there. I'm always like this, like one step more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Yeah, and I always end up like going to bed at 2 a.m. because I always want to do all the stuff that I have in my agenda. And that's so toxic. And how am I supposed to do all the stuff that I have on my agenda if I don't rest enough, and if I don't sleep enough, if I don't sleep with a certain kind of quality? Because you may have noticed that when you have a lot of things going on in your mind and you try to sleep, your sleep is like disturbed. You don't have like a good sleep, I think. So like actually detach and disconnect from everything before sleeping should be like an activity we should all do, but we don't. We don't. And yeah, I feel that this is one of the most important points that I've written down, that sleeping majorly, because I think that that's the only real actual rest that we can have, because we're going to dive into those fake rest activities that are just like a numb for your brain. That sleeping is just so underrated, non-considered, and so dangerously underestimated. Because as human beings, we can charge our phones. We can charge whatever technological device we have. We can literally charge up anything or plug anything into electricity. We can fill our car with fuel. We can do whatever we want, but our body needs to sleep. And that's a given. There's no way around it. But still, we mistreat our body and mistreat our sleeping schedules for the sake of being productive. And it's not a judgment at all, because I'm the first one doing this. So, but yeah, like as if sleeping, which is like the most basic need for our body to function, was something optional. Crazy. Yeah, I often feel this way. Like I often feel like, yeah, I can go on for like 30 minutes doing this, or I can wake up like an hour earlier to do that, rehearse that. No, man. You won't be able to give your 1,000% in 8 hours rehearsals if you have slept 2 hours of poor sleep because you thought and you were overthinking all night long. By the way, I wanted to introduce you to my water bottle. Amazing. Look at this beauty. 2 liters beauty. Stay hydrated, kids. So, back to the episode. I don't want to be like an old lady blaming it all on social media and society, but I'm gonna do this. This whole thing is incremented and fueled by the constant feeling that our society, and especially our generation, is fed, that of feeling behind. So, be up all night, wake up at 4 a.m., do all the stuff you want, burn out yourself, don't sleep, starve, don't drink for the sake of productivity in order not to fall behind. So you become a millionaire at 21. What the fuck? Honestly, what the fuck? We are on this floating rock just to live and to experience. I'm the first one up to achieving high goals and like actually burning myself out for my goals. But I find myself some spots during the year where I'm like, okay, now we rest. I have to. But also, like, yeah, I'm that kind of person who has big dreams, works a lot, and I'm not very good at sleeping, not at all, but that's going to be a topic for another episode. And I also want to have my social life at 100%. So I want it all. I want the full package. And I always end up on the floor. Like last week, I passed out 3 times. Is that good? Like, is it worth it? Because my answer was yes. My answer was yes, because like I'm like achieving the results of months of hard work, so it's worth it. But I know that in 2 weeks I'm gonna be at the beach with my friends, tanning and playing in the water all day. And I'm doing a lot of things, a lot of podcast episodes in order not to do anything for 3 weeks. Not to touch my phone for 3 weeks, not to be worried about graphics, editing, something like that, or study for 3 weeks. And yeah, like the falling behind thing, the be behind, be like one step backwards, the others. I don't know. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know where, again, we collectively set a standard, which is always like a success, financial, monetary gold standard we have to achieve. And if you think about it, there's no bar. Because if you achieve a certain level of success that was in your mind, there's always a step further. And what does it feels like? You always feel non-satisfied of your work. You never stop of being like, okay, wow, what a journey was that. I put in a lot of effort and I finally got my result. No, because you always think, oh, that's the thing more. And when do we actually voluntarily erase the sense of satisfaction of our goals, of the things we achieve? We do it subconsciously, but it's voluntarily. Because if we really think about it, you can unchain the two mechanisms. You get what I mean? Like, hey, I'm going to give you an example. I've got a BA in foreign languages applied to the economics field. And like, I was having the best time in uni. I was living in Milan. I had like super good friends. I love them. And like the thing, thanks to them, I had a great time. But when it was about doing exams, I'm a perfectionist. So I wanted high marks. And I locked in with my friend and we studied, but also wanted a social life. So actually our sleeping schedules and our like resting times were so tight that at the end of the exam session, our dark circles were like a thing. So yeah, it was like pressure for 3 years because I wanted that degree. For what? I don't know, don't tell me about it, because I've always wanted to be an actress, but apparently you have to have a degree in this life, so I did it. And if you think about it, my brain was coping just fine. It was like, yeah, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I hated what I studied, not the languages part, more the economics part. But like, it wasn't what I was passionate about. I'm passionate about art, literature. Again, my choice of university. I've always been a very artistic and creative person. My dream, academic wise, I've always loved reading culture and knowledge for themselves, not for a purpose. Was like, I always wanted to study art history or literature. And when I talked to my teachers in the final year of high school, they were like, no, but you're so smart. You are so intelligent. You should do something that has a purpose. As if studying art history doesn't have one. So for the kids out there in the last year of high school, please choose whatever the fuck you like. Not thinking about, oh, that will serve me in the future. No, please choose whatever you like. So I loved languages, but my passion was another thing. But still, I rushed for 3 years, studying like a damn mad person, giving all the exams the first attempt, like graduating for the first date possible. For what? For being like, I finished first. That was the only thing. Wow. Round of applause. Yeah. But what happened? In those years, first year of university, I started suffering from insomnia, like the worst, and it lasted for 4 years. I haven't still cured it completely because, as I was saying, I've had the 3 weeks where my sleep was a little bit troubled, but I've never been anxious in my life. And in uni, since I felt that kind of pressure of being like, I have to finish first, I started feeling anxiety. Never felt one day in my life. I knew anxiety like first year of uni. I never had anxiety in high school or something. Like, I come from a very sweet spot in that kind of field. But yeah, so I started suffering from anxiety, brutal insomnia. Like, the worst thing was I slept for 1 hour each night for 7 days, 1 week. And at the end of the week, like, I had like double vision, some kind of dystopic vision. I passed out all the time. And why? I don't know, because that anxiety was eating me alive, that I couldn't sleep. And so I was studying like 10 hours a night, hoping that during the day I could sleep. No, and that was actually told me very interesting thing about my body, that I have this tank of energy that almost never ends. And it's scary sometimes because I could could not sleep for an entire night, so be awake since the previous morning, and still the next night it's not a given that I will sleep. And that's something really, really, really scary. So, besides this digression, the idea of falling behind in my case, put the pressure on me of being like, okay, I have to have a degree in something that's useful, that's productive, perfect languages with merged with economics and marketing and management and all that stuff. Did I like that stuff? No, I don't. Would I have preferred to do art history or literature? Yes. But still, here I am. I still pursued my acting dream while I was in uni, so we are fine. And yeah, as I was saying, this hyperactivity is always in spite of health. Like, we generally prioritize health in everything. Like, there's a lot of content on social media that are health centered. Like, go to the gym, do that kind of sport for health. This supplements, this vitamins, this and that for health. But what's the most important thing, which is our recharge? Our sleep. And a good sleep is a direct consequence of a good activity and rest balance. And we all have a fucked up sleep schedule. So, just like throwing it out there. Another point I would like to spend a little time on is this propaganda where everything is marketed as optional, whereas at the end of the day is mandatory. So your hyperactivity, super high achieving, high performance, always on top of things, life, but is optional, has to have a social life, going to parties, going to the gym, eating well, doing Pilates, going for hot walks, read self-improvement books, listen to psychological podcasts, watch culturally interesting movies, and go to the theater. All of that stuff feels like optional content creation, but it's mandatory. So that, as I was saying in my first point, is taken away from the leisure pool to be dived into the productivity one. And what the fuck? What do I mean when I say it's not optional anymore, but it's mandatory? Because it's like, in order to be successful, is that this propaganda that I hate, that I loathe, that spoils the arts. It's like, in order to be successful and achieve this, and that, other millionaires do also this, and that. So, like, burnout is not a thing. It's no. So, in this way, we increase exponentially pressure on people, and also we deprive ourselves from activity that can make us actually feel good and actively rest from our hyperactive, super high achieving, high performance daily life. No, because we instill the germ of productivity also in these activities. You get what I mean? And that's the concept that I was explaining in the first point. Like, I have to journal because, like, on that self-improvement podcast, they told me that all the millionaires journal. No! Journal because it's useful to you. You love it because it serves you. It serves your soul. Do that because you love that. Go to the gym. Do content creation if you like it. Content creation takes up a lot of time because it's not just like doing the content, but it's like preparing, editing, and presenting the content, and it takes up a lot of time, a lot of creativity, and a lot of effort. And it's not leisurely. You can create content for leisure, but all the things, and if you want to do it in a certain way, it takes up a lot of time. So why those things that are leisurely have to be transformed? You see my sigh, because like, it's heavy. Everything feels heavy. And I come from a spot right now in this moment of my life where I love what I'm doing, but it's like a piling up of things that become quite intense, and I have no form of escapism because I love what I do. I deeply love what I do. I would never change what I do. But the simple activity of, for me, to watch a movie or go to a theater is always like, I have my attention radar very sharp. Because, like, if I go to the theater and watch an actor that I really love, I'm super connected because, first of all, respect for the actor, for the play, for the structure. But then, because I want to learn, it's an occasion to learn. It's not an occasion to be just, oh yeah, relaxed. I'm watching a play. No, I'm there like trying to catch all the things that this actor in particular is doing. Okay, so my form of escapism in this way is sport, because I not devoted sport, which is not dance, to a performance, but to feel good. Sometimes yoga, Pilates, and all that stuff. But I have, lucky me, these two things that are not performative in my life. But again, like as a collective, I think that there's a tendency to having transformed this leisurely activity into performative ones towards a goal. Whereas if I want to paint, I have to paint because I want to do it, because I love it. And if I want to actively rest by painting, I do not have to feel guilty because I didn't use that time to, I don't know, study something, okay? And that's something that I'm clearly reminding myself. It's not a judgment, it's still a reminder to self. Still, that's something I noticed, and I actually documented a little over this topic. Oh, sorry, on that note, like for instance, I love reading. I've always loved reading, but lately I stopped reading what I love, like, I don't know, classics. My favorite book is The Count of Monte Cristo, and I love those kinds of books. But like lately, I've been starting reading only acting books, only plays, only articles and things that maybe fuel my podcast. Maybe I can draw inspiration for another episode. All of that, they are all towards a goal. And they're not merely for the pleasure of reading. Like at the end of my day, I try not to watch my phone and I read. But what? I read a play. So my attention has to be sharp and I have to remember all the things and all the stuff. Like I enjoy this activity. I enjoy reading a play. I love it. But still, there's still that voice that's like, your attention has to be 100% because you have to remember this stuff because it can become useful. It's tiring. Like on paper, I have like a massive knowledge. It's not a brag, but I acquire a massive knowledge. But then I'm so tired because rather than a play, I should read before bed, like a fiction book that I like, that makes me feel something that I want to feel in that moment. Or watch a movie. No, watch a movie is not an option. But yeah, like reading something that really calms me down and doesn't have a purpose. Yeah, so like I always find myself in between these two things where I'm like, yeah, I can read. I love the activity, reading, but I can do it with a purpose, with something that is useful. I can use that information where it shouldn't be like that. In fact, my summer resolution, which starts in 2 weeks, is like I'm doing all the episodes for the podcast, all the things for my social media, all the stuff in order that on August I switch it all off. I go on vacation and I just enjoy my friends and family and the sea. I just want to do that. I will bring at the beach all the books that I want to read just because I want to read them. I'm just gonna go watch movies with my friends. Even if you're not useful, like I'm gonna watch The Hangover, I'm gonna go party, I'm gonna go dancing because I need it. And I don't want to think about work-wise activities because I feel like I need it. I want to tan, I want to lay on the beach playing, I don't know, volleyball with my friends. That's my resolution. And so I'm burning myself. I'm driving myself to the limit even more right now in these last 2 weeks because like, okay, I'm pushing this last 2 weeks and then full rest. But I know that I can only be in a position of being like, okay, let's full rest only if I have done everything. Yeah, I work like this. Because like from the external point of view, people always tell me, oh my God, you do so much stuff. How can you do that? Like, oh my God, how many stuff you do? Like first things first. I don't even know myself how I do that because like my brain sometimes scares me how much energy it has. I'm so grateful for that. Like I would never change you, Bridget. I would never. But still, sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to sleep. My thing is not sleeping. I'm always, you can call me at 4 a.m. I will probably answer. So the thing everybody knows about me is like, I don't sleep. And yeah, first things first, I have like this immense and infinite tank of energy, which I'm so grateful to have because it keeps me alive and it keeps me active to do all the things that I want. And second, I'm very well organized. If I don't have like good organization, I cannot cope with all the things that I have to do. And it's not like I have to do this on this day. It's like I enlist all the things that I do, and depending on the day, I do as much as I can. Like, the bottom line is not like do 3 things one day, 3 things the other day. No, I have a list of 35 things to do. As soon as I have a free time to do them, I do as much as I can. I know, I work like that. It's not like Monday do this, Tuesday do this, that. No. So on paper, I look like this kind of super robot that does a lot of stuff, but it's tiring sometimes. I'm happy. I'm so happy and grateful about my life, but still, it comes with a lot of effort and a lot of hard work. Like, I think that that is really acknowledged to me, is that I work really hard, and I really appreciate when people tell me, because I work hard for myself, but it's nice to have here and there that kind of compliment that your hard work is seen. But yeah, total nonsense digression. Anyway, so as I was saying, we have to also draw a distinction between actual rest and fake rest. That happened to me before putting my eye on the technology detox. So a few years ago, I noticed that I always doom scrolled for 10 minutes. I don't use my phone that much, but still, 10 minutes. I doom scrolled on TikTok before going to bed. And I wondered why my sleep, well, was so disturbed, was so funky. Why? And I felt that that activity was actually so restoring. There's a very, very, very sharp difference between actual rest and fake rest. Actual rest, open up your ears, is just real resting. So laying down, sleeping, meditating, whatever the fuck you want, eyes closed, eyes open, but you breathing and, if you can, sleep. That's the real actual rest. Whereas, oh, I'm just gonna open Netflix and rest, or I'm just gonna watch TikTok. It feels to you that you're resting because it's a passive activity, like you switch off your brain and you allow yourself to be hit by this wave of light content. But it's no good. It's no good because it's fake. It's passive, but instead of actually resting, it activates and, I would like to say, irritates your brain in the sense of it electrifies it. So be careful. Be careful. And yeah, I think that the major consequence of all these things is the fucked up circadian cycles. So like the awake and sleep time are like all fucked up, because like at the end of the day, I feel like, for instance, a person that works 9 to 5, have you ever thought about how much hours a person that works 9 to 5 really has during the day? I saw a video that shows the show that it was really like a little self-time, like at 30 minutes, 45 minutes, because you don't have to think about the work 9 to 5. You have to think about, do the groceries, do the laundry, wake up, drive to work, get back home from work. And if you are lucky, go to the gym, sleep, do something. And with an estimation of like 5 to 6 hours of sleep, this person could do all that kind of stuff. But of course you end up burned out. And the only free time you have is like, it felt as something pressured, and to do things like, okay, I'm gonna do the laundry, I'm gonna do that stuff, but not actually things for you. For instance, I feel that the only time for me is at night. So I always postpone and procrastinate my bedtime schedule, because I feel that the only time that I actually do things for me, and things for me could be everything: shower, cut my hair, do my nails, or something like that. Not the pleasure, like, I don't know, I'm gonna read a classic tonight. It's during nighttime. I'm gonna give you an example. This week I finished class every day, I think at 6:30, 7, like that. I'm so lucky to live very close to my school. So in 10 minutes, I'm home and I start reviewing my notes, going over my lines, and not doing all the things for school. Then, if I start doing the things for the podcast of social media, completely lose track of time. So from 7:15 that I'm home, it's like 10 p.m. I have to have dinner. I cook dinner. While I'm having dinner, I'm just editing something like that. And then it's midnight. And midnight, I'm there. And I have to wash my hair, and I don't have short hair. Wash my hair, dry my hair, do my skincare. Oh my god, I have to do that thing of I have to do yoga because otherwise I cannot sleep. 1 hour yoga. Yeah. So at 2 a.m. I go to sleep, and then at 8 a.m. I'm up. So lads, doesn't work like that. It shouldn't work like that. Last point I would like to touch on, another consequence that I feel is directly connected to this hyperproductivity, hustle, guilt, and stuff, is the weekend anxiety. Because you're in between a juggle among going out and rest. But going out means, oh, actually, I'm so tired, I'm burned out, but I have to go out. Otherwise, it's FOMO, it's Sunday blues, but I should have rested at home. Whereas if you rest at home, it's like, yes, but I've worked so hard all week. I should go out and enjoy, but I'm too tired to go out. But I have to go out, and then you stay home, and then you have FOMO, and then you have Sunday blues. So it's like an infinite tour to hell. I don't know why it's so complicated. It's like it's not like something, I feel that this process is not something that you recognize with an outburst of complete explosion of tiredness and burned out. I don't think that there's an outburst of being like, okay, I can't cope it anymore. I think that's a slow and progressive leak. I think that day to day we erase and draw another line, which is like minute time wise, some minutes further in the clock on our productivity clock, on which we can do something more, and we start and we progressively add minutes, and then it's like 2 months have passed and you feel like shit. You feel like you haven't slept in weeks, and you wonder why. Because it's not someday you decided, okay, I'm gonna lock in, I'm just gonna sleep 3 hours a day, and you'd be a madman. No, something like a subconscious, involuntary thing, whereas it's voluntary. You get my point. So I hope that we could jointly face this problem by firstly acknowledging it and try to be better as individuals and as a collective. But as I always say, first rule is being conscious about it. So, but yeah, in order to be better, since it's a problem that affects me in first person, my first resolution is this summer, having all prepared, like burning myself to the ground in this last 2 weeks, but everything ready for summer, for these 3 weeks where I literally can throw my phone from the window and just focus on my friends and real relationships and do not think about work or school. And yeah, I don't know. I feel that with my brain, it works cyclical, like intense work and then rest. But yeah, I will keep you posted if I feel that something's changed, if I find the sacred rule, the golden rule for this problem, not to have a burnout, to be super high performative, and also have a wonderful sleep schedule. But I'm still not quite there. So if you have any hints or any tips, just drop them. As always, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And it was very precious to me because it's something that I think about in my daily life. And see you in the next episode of Cafe Disco. Love you all. Bye.